Hey guys, maybe Google stuff and be like, oh shoot, there's already a show called Kingdom or a movie called Kingdom. Let's call this something else because you could call it anything you want. Yeah, so don't call it the same thing. Okay. Welcome back to Dramatic Evaluation, and if you think I have pants on right now, you're crazy. In this video, I'm going to talk about the FX show Shogun. This was a suggestion from a friend, a comment on a previous video saying I should check this show out. So, proof right there that if you leave a comment and tell me what you want me to watch, I just might watch it and do a video on it. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm glad he suggested this because I did enjoy the show. I'll talk about my thoughts on it and give a rating at the end like I usually do. So let's get into it. Okay, so in the beginning, watching this show, in the first episode, I was a little bit worried. I was a little worried it was going to be boring. I didn't know how political it was going to be versus action oriented or engaging, interesting story. Also, my bad, spoiler alert. Super gonna spoil certain things, especially big deaths towards the end of the season. So definitely spoiler alert on this review. So I was worried a little bit watching the first episode as it's kind of setting up some of the characters, these people in power and things like this. I was kind of like, oh man, is this going to be like a political show? Kind of over that. I don't want to be bored. And it was a little boring in the first 10, 20 minutes, but picks up pretty quickly and it is a interesting, engaging show that's got a couple different storylines going on that are interesting, intriguing, and are not just boring, slow-paced political conversation stuff. So many noises. Sorry for the noise. All my neighbors ever do is bang around and make noise. Got dogs barking over there. Got cars going. So my bad. Sorry. Oh well. It is what it is. So the subtitles. So there's definitely a lot of reading. A lot of this is in Japanese. So you have to read the subtitles. And then there's an English character who speaks English most of the time. So normally I'm with this kind of stuff where it's in another country, I'm like okay, obviously yeah, it makes sense to have subtitles because it's in another country, they're speaking their native language. But it's come on, we get it. You don't need we understand that they're speaking French or whatever. Just speak English. Have a French accent if you want to, but don't make us read. You're putting together this visual medium of a show or a movie. Let us watch what you're putting forth and the characters' facial expressions and stuff, and not have to look down and read the whole friggin' time. That said, it's fine if you do it. There are things that I enjoy with subtitles, particularly Korean or Japanese shows and movies that I've watched. I Saw the Devil. I watched last year. Awesome movie. That was in Japanese. Or Korean, I mean, sorry. So yeah, I can, it's fine. You can get through it, but this show in particular, it definitely makes sense, and it's justified because of the fact that a big part of the show is this Englishman character, and then there's a translator character who they, spoiler alert, get a little will they, won't they kind of love story brewing with these two characters. But it's well, obviously they have to speak Japanese, otherwise why would they need a translator to be this kind of pivotal character in the show? So it's justified, makes sense, and it's not that annoying. So, that said, if you're subtitle averse, that stuff, maybe the show might not be for you, but it's also not that bad, and there's English mixed in with the English character named Blackthorne, and his dialogue and stuff like that being in English. So it's kind of back and forth. Pretty surprised. So this show's on Netflix. This show's on FX, and there was nudity. There's cussing, and there's nudity, sex scenes, and I'm this is FX, right? FX is TV still, isn't it? FX isn't Max with I watched it on Hulu, but it's on TV on FX. So not sure what that's about. I guess now they just can have cussing and nudity on TV these days. I didn't know that. I don't watch TV anymore. Who does? Who has TV anymore? It's all streaming services. So what are we doing with that? But yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. And I was also surprised to see Richard from Lost was in this. He's not a huge character, but he's in a few episodes in the beginning. Cool character and great actor from the show Lost. One of my favorite shows. I think probably my favorite show. And so that was cool to see him pop up and be in it for a little bit. But yeah, I love like Japanese culture and this era. Pretty much like all like the old historical eras of Japanese culture, but also like modern too, like and in shows and movies and just everything about the Japanese culture and Korean culture, especially like with some of the Korean movies and TV shows that have been popping off in the last couple of years, especially horror. Yeah, so but yeah, Japanese culture and all that stuff is just really interesting, really cool, visually aesthetic is awesome. It's I like it. Okay, how about that? So yeah, so also playing Assassin's Creed Shadows at the same time, and so I'm like all the scenery and the settings and the buildings, the architecture, the landscape and everything, super similar, like pretty spot on to what's in that game also. So I'm like watching the show and then playing the game, and it's like seeing the same kind of stuff and getting the same kind of vibe from both of those. So that was kind of my last week or two, was pretty enthralled in all this Japanese culture and visual stuff. So that was pretty cool. That's pretty fun to kind of do those two things in tandem, kind of went hand in hand. So that was cool. So let's see, I'll just kind of pop around, talk about random stuff. The Englishman, named Blackthorne. I don't know this actor. I don't think I've seen him in anything before. He was all right, but he's a bit over the top. This guy, when this guy screams, like he'll be like get intense and like scream about something. It's the most intense, and he also has this like ridiculously like gravelly, like scratchy voice. The way he talks, and so when he's like screaming like that in that voice, and he's just like he's so intense. It's you gotta watch it to see what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna reenact it or anything, and I couldn't because I can't even achieve that level of intensity that he comes forward with. It's crazy. He's wildly intense, the way he like yells and gets emphatic and stuff. So I just found that to be kind of like funny. It was literally like made me laugh a few times watching him get crazy like that. So legit sets. I think they filmed most of this in Canada. I looked real quick because I was kind of curious. So they built a lot of sets, and there also is some like recreated, like they have like a recreation of like Osaka Castle in Canada. It's like mostly a museum. So I don't know if they like filmed anything at some of these existing sites that they have in Canada, but they definitely built sets that looked very authentic, very good. Definitely made it feel like you were in Japan, like ancient Japan. So they did a good job with that, and it was cool to see all that stuff like in the game too when I was playing Assassin's Creed, and just kind of everything matching up and jiving. So it was an interesting kind of love story, like I mentioned, with Blackthorne, the Englishman character, and his translator, this woman named Mariko. She's married. She thinks at one point her husband dies, and they kind of you see him like go off. Like I didn't think he died because you see the guy like duck into a little alleyway. He's like fighting like a million guys against him, just him, and you see him kind of duck into an alley. I'm like, he easily could have like ran away through that alley, which, spoiler alert, that's what happens clearly because he fights his way out of there and lives. But she thinks he's dead, so they start maybe getting a little like she might be a little entertaining it a little bit more, her attraction to him. And then turns out the husband's not dead. He comes back. There's this kind of awkward, pretty good tense episode where the husband and Blackthorne are kind of butting heads, having a little pissing match on drinking contest and stuff like that. So that was a good episode, and that was cool. But yeah, ultimately that love story doesn't really go anywhere because, spoiler alert, I'll talk about it in a couple minutes. It took a minute because there's a lot of setting up and getting into everything, but toward the end they got pretty nuts with some pretty huge like character deaths. So like there's a big character, Toranaga. He's like the leader. He's played by this guy. I don't know his name, but I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He was in Lost also, actually. He was in season 6 of Lost, and he plays a Japanese character who speaks Japanese in that show, actually, too. His son is kind of like, not a big character, but he's around all the time. And there's a huge moment where his son dies. Like, I was shocked by, like, this guy's, he's trying to, like, attack his uncle who, it's a whole thing. I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but, like, he's trying to, like, get, not revenge, but, like, he's pissed at, like, what his uncle's done to his father, so he goes to, like, attack him and, like, kill him. He, like, they're out in the rain in a pond, and, like, slips and bashes his head on a rock and just bleeds out and dies. So that was crazy. I was definitely shocked by that moment in the show. And then the next episode, they one-up themselves with insanely killing Mariko, the translator character. So, like, you think they're having this love story brewing with her and Blackthorne. It's kind of like a big focal point of the show, like, honestly, throughout multiple episodes. And then I don't even know what they did with her, like, what this was for. Like, maybe I missed stuff and didn't pay attention well enough, because there were scenes setting up, like, what she was going to be doing, but she just, like, got all weird at the end and was just, like, I don't even know how to explain it without, like, going into great detail, or, like, also I don't even know because I missed it or what, but, like, she just was acting all weird and doing weird stuff, and all of a sudden, is like wanting to leave the place they are. I think she's trying to, like, work with Toranaga and some side plan that they had, but it leads to an attack where basically they set up, like, a bomb. There's, like, a bomb on the other side of the door, and she, like, weirdly runs up to the door and puts her back against it and lets it blow up and kill her, when she could just, I don't know, stand over there. So I don't know what that was about. I don't know why the sacrifice. Blackthorne's devastated by her. Honestly, not really. I thought he'd be a little more devastated. He was like, no, but, like, and then he was kind of, like, all good after. So it was kind of weird that he wasn't as devastated as he probably should have been. But I don't know why they did that. So again, maybe I missed something. Maybe let me know in the comments if I'm dumb and there's a reason why she needed to die. Because she didn't need to die. She could have just stood over there. So yeah, it was weird. But very shocking, like, you're like huge character death moment right there. And then there's another character that is in the finale episode that dies. That's kind of like one of the bigger characters, sort of, it throughout the show, where you're kind of like, oh wow, they killed this guy too. That's crazy. So I love that. I love me some big character death moments in shows. I love that about, like, Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and stuff like that. The threat of death, people, you come to know these characters and get in with these characters, and then all of a sudden they die, and it's like a big shock. I love that about shows, so this had that, and so I definitely appreciated that aspect of it for sure. And it made me kind of be like, especially with the Mariko death, I'm like, what are they going to do? Are they just no plan for season 2? Because that was, like, a big thing. It was like this love story developing with these two characters. How are you going to kill her and then do a season 2? Like, what are you even going to do? Obviously, there's things they can do with the story with the season 2, and they will, because I looked it up, and they're not only renewed for a season 2, they're renewed for a season 3 already also. So we'll see what they do with it, and yeah, I'm definitely interested to see, because it was a pretty solid show. So for my rating, I'm going to give this an 8.4. It was good, but not like an all-timer. It's not, upper 8 point whatever or 9, but 8.4. So solid score, solid, good show. Definitely entertaining, engaging. Despite thinking I might be bored in the beginning of it, it wasn't really boring at any moments. Even the slower moments in the show were well done enough, like, good writing and acting to where you're engaged and following along and not drifting off and looking at your phone or something because you're bored. So yeah, it kept my interest. It was a fun show for sure. And if you like this era and culture, definitely would recommend a few things that are kind of similar. Like, for one, the show Kingdom and not the MMA show. There's like an MMA show called Kingdom with like a Jonas brother in it, I think, or something. But then there's this Korean show on Netflix called Kingdom, and it's so good. And it's kind of this era. I'm not sure, exactly what year it is. It's probably older. It's more of like feudal Japan. So I think it's probably older than this. I don't know. I don't know enough about. I'm not a scholar, but it's old. But it's also got zombies in it. There's a zombie aspect to it, and just trust me, it's so good. So if you liked this show, check out Kingdom. It's freaking good show. And then weirdly, Kingdom, a series of movies, and these are Japanese made, but they actually take place in China, I think. But it's a real similar like vibe and feel. There's a lot of it's just like out in the countryside or whatever, and these like wars and fighting and stuff. So it's not, obviously I know Chinese culture and Japanese culture is different, but they are made with Japanese studios and actors, and weirdly also called Kingdom. So hey guys, maybe Google stuff and be like, oh shoot, there's already a show called Kingdom or a movie called Kingdom. Let's call this something else, because you could call it anything you want. Yeah, so don't call it the same thing, okay? But anyway, yeah, Kingdom the show, Kingdom the movies, and then Rurouni, I think that's how you say it, Rurouni Kenshin. It's a series of movies, and those are on Netflix. I think maybe not all of them, but maybe all of them are. I can't remember. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Those are awesome, super fun movies. It's based on a manga, so they're like more kind of manga, like anime vibe, less in like serious and intense as like Shogun is. They're definitely take themselves seriously, I guess, but there's that level of like inflated reality that you would find in like an anime or manga. It is live action though, it's not anime. But those movies are rad. Those are really good. So check those out if you are interested in this kind of culture and aesthetic. So that's it for my review of Shogun. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and comment to let me know what you thought about the show and what you want to see me cover next. Stay tuned. Until next time,